All right, I should be live. Okay, I'm kind of not invested. I might be her up. Okay, so copy the link, and then you can go to your group page and then share it with a billion places. Go. Okay. Gotcha. The mic, and then you just paste it, and then I'm gonna start. Okay. Yeah, there's banner. And you have from Apple and I have Amazon. And then unmute your mic and then go into live. So we're live. Yeah. It's on both.
Check 1, 2. Sarah, can I have you come over you and Romero? Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, let's kick this off by giving some acknowledgement to a man in despite of the brutality that he experienced, he is alive. Let's give it up for Romero Stinnett. My name is Jeff Campbell. I am the chair of the Justice for Rivero campaign. On April 28th of 2018, Romero Stinnett left Redline Community Gallery to catch a train here at Union Station. While waiting on his train, he was harassed consistently by Allied Universal Security Services. They then coerced him to go into a private area where there were no cameras, and they began to assault him. There's a detail that is very important about this. The person who initiated this attack was the sergeant, the commanding officer on duty. So this is not something that we can change by retraining the officers. This is not something that we could just say, this is something that happened to an individual. This is policy for this company. When you assume management for a company, you begin to represent that company on the upper level. You represent who they are through and through. And Allied Universal Security Services is a brutal, violent, and abusive organization that the city of Denver and RTD needs to discontinue doing business with permanently. I was waiting around for my girl Chantel Lewis to come and speak, but she has a director's meeting coming up right now. But I wanted to present to her this. This is a petition from change.org with 3,000 signatures. 3,000 signatures that say, honor Chantel's a resolution, not a policy. Honor Chantel's resolution, run my man his motherfucking check, and fire Allied Universal Security Services. Now there was a statement made on behalf of RTD that what happened to Rivero is not within the policy or the ethics of RTD. And that's a very convenient position to have. What they have done is they have outsourced their liability by subcontracting a company. But we have to have RTD, the agency of our city. We have to have the city of Denver has to take ownership and responsibility for this crime. The 3 officers who committed the assault pled guilty to the offense. There was no wiggle room for them. They were caught. One of them is still serving time right now. And yet 2 years later, Rivero has not been compensated. Imagine if it was you, permanent brain damage, a traumatic brain injury. He has lost his ability to paint at the level that he was before the incident. He was an elite artist in our community, creating art as his way of life. And because of this attack, that was taken away from him. So it is time for them to run my man his motherfucking check. So I'm gonna let Rivero, if he would like to speak, and Rivero's legal counsel speak to this matter to give you more details in terms of the case. Please acknowledge Rivero and Cuser.
Thank you all for coming. On behalf of Rivero and his entire legal team, we really appreciate all the support and love that one of the things that stood out the most is that better? Thank you. Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for all the love and support that you've given Rivero. He truly needs it every day. Simple tasks are now almost impossible. What breaks my heart is I've been walking with Rivero since day one, almost 2 years ago, down this journey of taking on all of this. And sometimes Rivero comes into my office, and I have seen this man probably 300 times in the last 2 years. And he asks me who I am. What's my name? It breaks my heart. This man created such beauty from himself. And yesterday he tells me, every time I pick up a paintbrush now, the only thing that comes out are tears. He is truly one of the best artists in our community, to the point where people discovered him in his mid-40s. And he received a full ride scholarship to REMCAD. And he was going to be the next resident artist at Redline. He was on the dean's list for 2 straight semesters. And now he can barely operate a computer. This is the condition that they left him in. They tell us that there was no racism involved when they singled out the only black man sitting by himself. And they lured him into the bathroom. They put on leather gloves with studs on them. And they hit him so hard that they launched him off his feet and his head smashes into the concrete wall. And he goes home with a brain bleed. They didn't even have the fucking decency to call an ambulance. They put him back on, and every single neurologist who's looked at the situation has said the same thing. He is lucky to be alive. When you go to sleep with a brain bleed, you most of the time do not wake up. We are so proud and honored to represent Rivero Stinnett in his civil rights lawsuit to try to burn this whole fucking thing down. Because this has to be an equal safe space for all people. And people of color should not fear taking public transportation just because of the color of their skin. So we thank you, and we thank you, and we thank you, and we ask you, carry his message of love, carry his message of peace and beauty, look at his art, connect with his art, and if you connect with his art, you will be connecting with Rivero Sinet. Thank you so much. And that's all we have, folks. Rivero is not, unfortunately, one of the big issues with his brain injury is he has extreme difficulty finding words. He gets very nervous. He unfortunately gets paranoid at times. This is one of the first times that he's come out in public, and that's how much it means to him. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I have some words. Allied guards assaulting homeless man at station 31617 Boston, Massachusetts. Allied security kills man at light rail station 82317 Denver, Colorado. Man lured and beaten by Allied security. That's the one we're talking about right now. Racial profiling of store guard by Allied guards 41219 Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Allied security officers assault teens 51319 Minneapolis, Minnesota. Allied security guard fired for assaulting pregnant shopper 62119 Miami, Florida. Allied security employee involved in terrorist plot against synagogue 81019 Nevada. And that's just an anecdotal list. There's more. We created a report. Since the press ain't here to do their job, we did their job. We went and got a report of all the assaults and all the brutality and all the violations all across the country that we were going to share with the press. We got the receipts, brother. So next I want to introduce my sister, who is introducing a resolution to the RTD board that takes security, safety, and security from a context of compassion. Please put your hands together for Chantel Lewis.
Challenge with Mike here. See if we can do this. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you. I have some notes here, so I want to make sure I don't forget anything. My name is Chantel Lewis. I serve on the board of the Regional Transportation District for District B. Thank you. I really appreciate each and every one of you being out here this afternoon. It means a great deal to me, and I'm sure it means a great deal to Mr. Sinet as well. So thank you so much for your time. So, as many of you know, okay. I can have a 17-year-old. So while I cannot speak on behalf of the Sinet case, I can speak on behalf. Thank you so much. So while I cannot speak on behalf of the Mr. Sinet's case, as an elected board member, I can speak on behalf of justice because I am committed to justice. I can also speak. Thank you. I can also speak on behalf of my Black, beautiful son, who is also an artist. And so I take that incredibly seriously. Thank you. I have a deep respect for his craft. He works hard every single day to perfect his craft. And so I just want to honor you in this moment and recognize that from one Black mama. I also want to bring into this space a friend that I had when I was in middle school. His name was Paul Childs. And I think it's important for me to bring in to this space Paul Childs because he was my friend. And if you don't know the story about Paul Childs, who was a gentle, kind, compassionate individual, he was having an episode, a crisis, mental health challenges, and the police were called. And instead of the police responding to help in this crisis, they actually murdered my friend Paul Childs. And I was in the 8th grade when this happened, and this has always stuck with me. And so when there was the opportunity to bring forth this resolution, I actually brought this resolution forward in June, and I've had some issues getting this to the people. I was thinking about Paul and how incredibly important it is to have folks who are trained to respond to crises, to have folks who are trained to respond to folks who are just not having a good day, right? And to not have armed security respond to people who are experiencing challenges. And that is, thank you. Thank you. Mental health challenges, behavioral challenges, social challenge. Like, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Are we not to expect that people are going to struggle? And I think the folks that we employ, whether they are direct hires or contractors within RTD, they should be treating our folks from a place of compassion. They should be treating our folks as humans first. And as you see from the research that folks were able to conduct, that has not been true for Allied Security. And it is beyond time that we take this opportunity to invest those dollars, millions of dollars, into supporting our people and to protecting our people, because safety for everyone is not the police. We know this. We know this. We know that for communities, Black communities, Indigenous communities, brown communities, we know, immigrant communities, we know that safety does not equate to the police. So it's about time we start recognizing that, and not only recognizing it, doing something about it. Thank you. And so I'll tell you a bit about my resolution and also the commitment I received from the chair as well, because it's really important for you to understand who holds the power at RTD, because it's not just one individual director, but the chair does hold a lot of power in getting resolutions brought forward to the rest of the board. And so that's important for you to know. Very, very important. The chair has committed to working with me to bring forward a resolution that takes dollars away from the Allied Security, not takes, the Allied Security contract, and appropriate those dollars to have a team of mental health professionals, homeless coordinators, whatever the needed, transit ambassadors to respond to folks who are in need. To respond to folks who are in crisis, right? All this is, the spirit of this is to have a harmonious approach to how we deal with one another. It's not hard, it's that simple. And the chair has committed to that. And what do I need from you all? To hold the chair to that commitment. And I won't just say the chair, to hold me to that commitment and to hold the other 13 elected members of that board to that commitment, because it is time. It is beyond time, and enough is enough. And I really appreciate each one of you being out here, and I really appreciate the support that you all have provided. I will take these signatures. Amen. I will take, yes. Well done. Well done. I will take these signatures back to the board to let them know that there are 3,000 people who care about this issue, and there are 3,000 people who are watching us as we figure out how to get rid of the Allied Security contract and invest in our people for change. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chantel. With this contract loophole, the RTD no longer has liability, and the onus becomes on this rogue, nasty company. Let me be frank. Your brown shirts are here. Your stormtroopers are right here. Be careful when we say we want to abolish the police. I understand we want to defund the police and divert funds in a way, but don't let them run this okey doke on us all over this city. If they outsource the liability to companies like this, who are owned by Corrections Corporation of America, the private prisons, then we are looking at fascism dead in the face. We already looking at it. But if we don't step up and do something now, then I hate to see the Denver, Colorado that we once know and loved. Now, Mayor Hancock, he already sold the whole east side down the river. We can't let him now just sell our safety and security off to these rogue, nasty, disgusting individuals. So Mayor Hancock, run my man. Run my man. That's right. Next, I want to have my man come up. He is a firebrand. He's a badass. He's got that young blood in him. Put your hands together for school board at large, Mr. Tay Anderson.
So I brought up a couple of friends with me because I wanted to be able to talk about how we lead with bold actions, not only just from the school board, but from RTD all the way down to District 9 and City Council. Because this is the generation of Thunderbolts, Manual High School graduates, a school where they once closed the doors on our community and said these graduates were not going to be coming back into society, that the school was going to be closed. But it was the work of two women of color that stood up to say, we're not going to shut the doors of our public institution, that allowed me to be able to walk through them, to graduate, to last month being on the Denver School Board. We officially ended the contract with Denver Police Department because we do not believe in over-policing our schools. We believe in mental health support, restorative justice, making sure our homeless students have access to opportunity, making sure that we have an inclusive environment for all of our students, no matter who they love or how they identify or what social and economic status they live in. We are making sure Denver Public Schools is a leader in this fight, and that is why we were the third district in the United States of America to say we are ending contracts with Denver Police. But the work now transcends into other branches of government. It transcends into making sure we divest from allied security and make sure we defund the Denver Police and put those dollars to actual resources that can help our communities. We don't need law enforcement officers knocking on our doors at 2 a.m. and having another situation where Breonna Taylor is not able to see another day. We have to continue to demand justice for the women of color that have been killed in police brutality. Because Black Lives Matter is not just about Black men, it's about Black women and Black LGBTQIA+ folks. It's about making sure that Breonna Taylor gets justice, Elijah McClain gets justice, and it is about bringing community together. So it's cute to continue to show up for rallies, but you got to be able to put these rallying spirits into action. It's a shame that only 20% of Denver turned out in our last city council election, because in 2023, when the city council is on the ballot, we need to make sure we give Candy some allies, not just allies, accomplices on the Denver City Council. And in 2020, we need to make sure we give Chantel some accomplices on the Regional Transportation District. And in 2021 and 2023, we need to send some better school board members to the Denver School Board. We can't do it alone, y'all. In order for us to bring justice for everybody in our city, we have to do it together. So continue to show up. You're doing your part. No matter if it's 50 of us or 50,000 of us, we must continue to show up. But when public meetings are being held, we need to be in those public meetings demanding to be heard. No more meetings where they make decisions about us without us. And we're gonna run you your money, because there has to be justice for this case. I walked through this hall, and I'll end with this. I walked through these halls just a moment ago, and I seen allied security probably on every hallway corner. Gun, badge, taser. And I kind of was like, maybe I shouldn't be in here. But this is supposed to be a public building. This is supposed to be the people's building. Just like it is when you walk through City Hall, when you walk through RTD's building or DPS, you should not have to be greeted with somebody with a badge and a gun. You should be able to be greeted with supports that are going to actually help you move further in life. So let's do this together, y'all. Let's continue to show up. Let's support these two women of color who consistently show up for community. And when the media won't show up, we do their job and we make sure we amplify the voice, because sometimes they like to skip over situations when it's not cute on social media anymore. But we have to hold them accountable too, to say, you got to show up. You got to hear these voices out, because we, the people, are demanding action and change, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Tay, Candy, and Chantel. You're looking at Denver's future. They are not letting us down, and they have not let us down yet, and we cannot let them down. Now, next, I would like to bring up a friend of mine, my mayor. There's the mayor that's in the office right now, but my mayor is here today for us and for you. Lisa. Give it up for Lisa Calderon. Come on.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm thinking back 2 years ago when friends got together and said that Rivero was assaulted. And I didn't know Rivero at that time. And thank you, a shout out to PJ D'Amico, who said his story has to be told. Lisa, help me get his story out there. And one of the first people I turned to was, of course, who you've heard from, the amazing QCR Mohammed Bai, because I knew if anyone was going to kick this company's ass, it would be Q. So thank you for listening and for taking his case. I could not believe when I heard, Rivero, what happened to you? You know, we march in the streets as we should, and we protest as we should when people are killed. But we don't bring the same kind of outrage when people are seriously injured and there's no justice for them. It's been 2 years later, and we are still trying to push the RTD board to do the right thing. Settle this case. It is not a question. His injuries are not a question. Who harmed him is not in question. Allied is a notorious company, and they change and they shift so that they could be more palatable to the policymakers. And to you policymakers, I have words for you. You know better. You know better. And whether it's the RTD board, who's headed by a woman of color, Angie Malpieri, you know better. You need to stand with this Black man, because it's no different, right? As an Afro-Latina, I'm speaking, Black Lives Matter is our movement in the Latino, Latinx community. It is our movement. We need to stand for justice. And when you are in a position of power, people put you there. Do not forget where you came from. Do not forget who supported you. We need you now to do the right thing. I'm speaking also to Denver City Council, and thank God we have Councilwoman Candy C. Zabaca who's fighting for the people. When the Allied contract came up for, of all places, the homeless shelter, the mega shelter at National Western, Candy spoke out and said no to this contract. How on earth are you going to award $4 million for a few months to guard a vulnerable population after what you did to Rivero Stinnett? What kind of world do we live in? The fact that Rivero was targeted not only because he was Black, but also because he was profiled as homeless. And yet we're going to reward this company, this notorious company with millions of dollars, is appalling. But you know what? The response that we got was the same response was when Candy tried to and won, divesting the city from private prison contracts. Yeah. We were told at that time, when we raised the issue, why on earth is Denver having private prison contracts when they were caging children? And we were told there's nothing you could do about it. Candy was just a minority on the board and votes. There's nothing she could do about it, so don't even try. That's what she was told. And she was able to get her colleagues to vote against the contract and divest. And so what I'm saying to you is we're being told the same thing, that there's nothing we can do because no one else can take these contracts, because that's what private-public partnerships do. That's what corporations do, is they eliminate all of the other competition so that cities feel like they have to go to them, but it's a lie. So don't believe the lie. So the fact that you all are here today, when we started with a small group of like 10 maybe people out here in front, trying to get people's attention, you are doing this today. I have no doubt we are going to divest RTD and Union Station from Allied. Yeah. Keep showing up. Thank you, Rivero. Thank you for your courage. Thank you, Q-Care. Thank you, Jeff Campbell, for organizing, and everyone else who's been showing up. Thank you.
And thank you, Lisa Calderon. Keep it going. From Allies to Abolitionists is powered by Emancipation Theater. Emancipation Theater is a social enterprise. And we stand on the purpose that storytelling amplifies us. And when it amplifies the us, it drowns out the not us. It drowns out the us against them. It drowns out the other. When we come together and share stories, we leave as one. We are no longer a forest of trees. We are an aspen grove. We are no longer a few bees buzzing around. We are a hive. We are no longer a couple of ants sneaking in your kitchen to get some crumbs. We are a colony. We are one organism. And when you hear Rivero's story, you cannot deny him. And that's the power of storytelling, and we ain't afraid to use it. So if you want to support the Justice for Rivero campaign, please go to emancipationtheater.com and click donate. If you want to support From Allies to Abolitionists, and Emancipation Theater, click Emancipation the brand and buy a t-shirt. Okay? Please join From Allies to Abolitionists, because the fight does not end here on July 14th. This is only the beginning, folks. And as you can see, we've got a fight ahead of us. Okay? We are putting ourselves in between $98 million and this company. And it is going to take an organized and a vigilant and a direct fight. So we better lace up our shoes, stretch them hamstrings, okay? Because we are on the journey towards justice. At Emancipation Theater, we believe in an underground railroad culture. Now, when it comes to Underground Railroad, who do you think of? I think of Harriet Tubman. Now, when I think of Harriet Tubman, I think about the 90 miles that she ran in 5 days. I think about the 3.5 marathons she ran in 5 days. Most of us can't drive 90 miles without pulling over. But that, we're going to have to do 90 miles worth of work in 5 days on this journey. That is the level of commitment that we have to take. The stakes are just as high right now because you know who's at the top of our federal government. And the ties, and you know, some of you might think that, you know, I'm stretching, but the ties are closer than you think if you know who Correctional Corporations of America is and the donor to his campaign and his reelection. The stakes are really just that high. So it is time for us to organize. Please join From Allies to Abolitionists on Facebook. That is like back in the day in the 60s, you know, you had the central place of organizing was the church. Well, like it or not, social media is our church. It's kind of the same, isn't it, too? We got the gossiping over here. We got the singing over here, right? Okay? Well, we've got to meet and we've got to organize. We're going to do some calls to Angie Rivera Malpiede. We're going to send some emails to Angie Rivera Malpiede. We are going to text Angie Rivera Malpiede. And we've got to take this solo act and make it a chorus. All right? So thank you all for coming. Stay tuned. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for masking up. Thank you for social distancing. We're going to get out of this rain, but the fight doesn't stop here. All right?
get here real quick?